So with the daspass, many of you know what it is. You get a return time and then you return back to the ride. But what this video is about is kind of like talking about some of the flaws with the daspass. With the daspass, it covers attractions, but one of the problem areas with the daspass is that it doesn't cover transportation. And obviously, if you have an issue where you can't get on a ride and you can't wait on the line for a ride, why would you be able to wait to get on a bus or a ferry or something like that, or a monorail? And as many of you know, the lines at Disney get kind of nuts, and there's a lot of poor transportation there. In other words, so like for example, a bus line, and not everyone fits on the line. Basically, like, you'll have to wait for like the third bus to come. You won't make it onto the bus. So you'll just be standing there. Once you enter the line for a bus queue, you could be waiting there for, it could be an hour just till you get on a bus. And then it's the ride back to the resort, which could be 20 minutes. So obviously that's not really doable. So in the past, I have had issues where I've entered a bus line and I've literally had to get off the line because I can't wait, you know, an hour to be able to board a bus. And then there's some lines which are extra bad where, like, people said like it was so impossible. I think people were talking about the music resort, and basically you had to like get an Uber back to the resort because there's like no proper transportation. So the daspass, which is supposed to accommodate guests with disabilities, never took care of transportation at the resort. And for example, people who are in motorized scooters, they will cut the line and go to like the handicap access area on the bus queue. But for people with hidden disabilities who are supposed to be accommodated with rides, they never actually made any accommodations. And I remember, because this was on my mind and it's such an issue, I noticed, how do I get back to the resort? I remember I went up to guest services and actually was asking her, this girl, the attendant, how it was that I would get essentially on the bus or back to the resort. One time she told me that I should pay for a VIP experience. That's what she actually told me. She's like, well, if you pay for a VIP experience, then you could have someone, like a driver, like drive you back to the resort or something like that. That was kind of nasty. And then I don't remember if it was this, I don't think it was the same attendant. I went up to someone else and another cast member was like, this is like definitely not Disney customer service. She's like, well, don't complain. I have a sick husband at home. It's like, what does the fact that you have a sick husband at home have to do with me as a guest asking you how to access Disney transportation or how to utilize different accommodations associated with DAS? To go on a ride, how would you expect them to go on the transportation back to the resort, especially with the main issue being you don't have proper transportation running back to the resort? So you have a situation where the average guest is waiting on a line for an hour to get on a bus because the issue is you don't have enough buses running because you're trying to cut down. And then certain hotels that have these deals at them, like the all-star resorts, you pretty much know you can't stay there primarily for the reason of the bus transportation. Because there was like one vlogger and he said that they stayed at All-Star and they went to Springs or something like that and they couldn't get back to the hotel. So you're gonna end up in a situation where you're going to end up having to use Uber or drive yourself if you're staying at one of those resorts. So that's just like not the best. So that's a frustrating concept because they never took care of guests when it comes to DAS. Not only have I had some pretty terrible experiences where they've been like either trying to avoid giving it to me because they want to make more money off of you as a guest, but in reality the transportation is actually a major issue, and they have never come up with a reasonable way to accommodate guests if the person cannot wait online. Yeah, I'm frustrated with the daspass. Number one, how they treat guests to get it. Again, I've talked about in my other videos how you have to like essentially be rescreened every 60 days. It's crazy. So they're like re-harassing you. So on top of all those issues, at the end of the day, they're not really providing proper accommodations. So I wish that they would take transportation into account because it does cause a huge problem for me because I don't essentially know how to get back to the resort. So those are my little thoughts for today. I don't know, there's like a lot of distractions behind me. There's like helicopter situation, and there was a boat, and the water's making noises because the boat went through. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you liked this little chat and video, and I will see you again in my next video, and bye.